Chapter 34. Chimera rolled to the side as the wolf slashed at him with its long claws. The canine had howled an attack from out of nowhere. Son of a bit, he ducked, and the wolf slashed again. His claws cut through the trunk of the apple tree as if it were air. The tree began to fall, and Chimera spun, knocking his clubbed tail into it. The wolf grabbed the trunk with both hands just before it could crush him. Chimera's eyes grew wide as the beast up the tree high over his head. His voice shouted as he was shrouded in the shadow of the branches. The wolf swung the tree and Trimmer beat his wings hard. He flipped back just in time as the tree smashed into the ground. The wolf lifted the tree again and hurled it at the young dragon. Trimmer fired an earth bullet and the trunk shattered with an ear-splitting crack. The wolf launched through the shards of broken wood that seemed to hover in the air and lashed out at Trimmer again. The dragon fainted to his side. He felt the wind as the claws passed by his chest. The other guy jumped back and stared hard at his attacker. This wolf was different than the ones he had encountered before, including the mutant from Dante's freezer. The wolf turned and smiled at him. He raised a claw and tapped himself in the chest. Huh? Trimmer cocked his head and raised a bar curiously. He was sitting. He felt the burning in his chest. He looked down to see claw marks and thick chest scales. They hadn't been broken, but the skin beneath her as if it were burning. Trim looked back at the wolf. I guess I should start taking you seriously, he muttered. The wolf snorted and charged. Wow, said found under Hodge in the soft sand. That's just wow. You see now? Cannon sighed. She stared down beside her and stared at the frozen ocean. Why I've been acting the way I have? Towards you guys? And Trimmer? It does make sense, Stella nodded dumbly. They sat for a moment in silence while Stella let the news Kenneth had given her soak in. At last she turned. You kissed Trimmer. She could hardly believe the news. It was almost like she was dreaming just hearing that the two had shared such an intimate moment. He kissed me first, Kenneth explained. Tears started to burst from her eyes again. And you kissed him back, Stella pointed out just as energetically. You can't deny that, and I mean it. I know. Kenneth whimpered and hung her head. I've been so restless ever since. But why did you reject him? If you kissed him back, then that means you must have some feelings for him. At least at the time. I don't know, Cannon shouted. She shook her head, trying to calm herself down. I admit the kiss was enjoyable. Very enjoyable. I loved it. But it just felt awkward because it was Trimmer. Yeah. Kenneth looked at her, surprised she understood as well as she did. I can understand the awkwardness, Stella nodded thoughtfully. I mean, the way you two constantly banter back and forth would make the fact that he has feelings for you a bit awkward and strange. But I don't think that your history does either of you any justice in finding each other. You especially. What? Why? Because you two will never be happy if you keep this up. You go about your lives mad at each other all the time, and whatever friendship you had will be destroyed. Trimmer shot himself in stone and charged the wolf. The canine jumped to the side, avoiding the rolling ball of earth. The ball banked hard and came around for another pass. The wolf breathed a cloud of fire and froze over the ball. What the hell? Trimmer gasped in surprise. He pushed against the inside of the ball, but he was frozen in place. He could hear the wolf approaching, and he pushed harder against the frozen stone, but to no avail. The wolf drew his blade and brought it smashing through Trimmer's ball. Trimmer had nowhere to run. He pressed himself to one side as much as he could, but the serrated edge cut his right shoulder, raking off a large chunk of skin. Trimmer didn't have time to mind the pain. The wolf swung his weapon again, and Trimmer ducked as the blade whistled over his head. As the wolf swung in again, he stepped in close out of the weapon's range. The wolf looked down in time to get hit in the chest with an earth bullet. He gave a mild grunt as he went flying into the air. Trimmer sprang up after him and charged up another attack. The wolf quickly responded and swung his weapon. Trimmer gasped and covering himself in earth again. The blade connected with his barrier and he was sent crashing to the ground. The barrier broke on impact and Trimmer felt the wind rush out of him. The wolf landed on his feet and rushed in again. Trimmer wheezed and coughed a small blast at the wolf's feet. A pail of earth burst off on the ground, splashing the wolf in the jaw. The canine howled in pain as his head rocked back sharply. Trimmer got to his feet, having gained enough time to catch his breath. He winced at his wounded shoulder. He was already beginning to bleed badly. Dirt was sticking to it and his blood had begun to stain the ground. The wolf got up and shook his head. His lips was bleeding but showed no other sign of injury. Damn it! Tremor groaned in irritation. What kind of monster are you? The wolf sneered. He bent down on all fours. His mane bristled. Tremor ducked to the ground and raised a wall of earth as the wolf's hair turned to ice and fired. The shadow of needle-like shards of ice punctured the barrier. Tremor peeked out and another volley was fired. The earth dragon ducked as a needle shot overhead, chipping his protective cover away. The wolf unleashed another blast of ice and froze the ground. Tremor gasped as he found his feet frozen in place. He turned back to his wall and looked up in horror at the towering wolf mutant. The beast smiled and raised his weapon. Tremor's eyes grew wide, and he fired an earth missile at his feet, breaking the ice and his barrier. The other dragon rode in close to the wolf again, hoping to take out its legs. He swung his clubbed tail and the wolf leaped over him. He dragged his weapon through the earth as he flipped over the young dragon. Tremor felt a burning inside and found the wolf had left him with a nasty gash up his side. I think I'm gonna need some help, he groaned to himself. He fired a shower of earth bullets at the wolf, who easily dodged them. That was all Tremor needed. He turned and flew towards the beach as fast as he could. The wolf looked up and growled angrily before taking off after him at high speed. What do you mean our friendship will be destroyed? Candace squeaked, a sudden tone of fear in her voice. Tremor cares for you, Candace. He openly admitted it. And more than once. He saved your life. And you saw his reaction when he thought you had died. If that doesn't get you aware that he likes you, then I don't know what will. You're just being as stubborn as he is when it comes to admitting that you have feelings for him too. I do not, Candace protested, her cheeks beginning to turn red. You're such a bad liar. Stella snapped and Candace struck back in surprise. You spent time with Tremor on the wall of the Eastern Dragon City. More than once, mind you, and alone. You volunteered to bring him his meals. You looked after him when he was recovering from Dark Master to attack Warfang. I'm seeing you make eyes at him in the dining hall when he's not looking, and him as well. Well, The burning Candace's cheeks spread throughout the rest of her face. She had no idea that Stella knew so much about her so-called outings with Tremor, and she couldn't help but wonder how much everyone else knew. Stella brought her nose right up to Candace's and stared her in the eye. If you say that you aren't concerned or worried about Tremor's health and well-being the slightest, then you're lying to everyone on this planet. Especially yourself. Well, I hate to see his talent go to waste. We need a new Earth Guardian eventually. It's like I said before. The Guardian's duty should supersede their own personal comfort. Oh, cut the crap, Candace! Stella snorted and lightning bolts crackled around her body. You're just making excuses now as to why you shouldn't like Tremor. I know that you were just saying that and that you don't truly believe a single word of it. Candace was silent. She couldn't talk her way out of this corner. I know it seems impossible, but you do have feelings for Tremor. You can hardly believe that he has feelings for you too. He told you? No, I guessed. Stella shook her head. I got the hint from Tremor the other night after Leon ran away and he came to make sure I was okay. He didn't say anything specific, but I can sense he has emotions that run deep as far as you are concerned. Candace fell silent again. She stared at her talents being buried in the sand and fished them beneath the surface. Do you really believe that Tremor still cares for me? Candace looked at Stella with tears poking at the edge of her eyes. After the way I've been acting? After the way I've treated him? If you look for proof that love conquers all, then look around you, Candace. Look at Spyro and Cinder. Former arch-enemies and head over heels for each other. Flame and Ember. Rivals put a position for Argon and Ember was stuck going Spyro for a while too, from what I hear. But that doesn't mean... I heard Flame say this about when Ember finally knows him as more than just a friend. He said, I guess miracles really do happen. Candace's eyes all widened in surprise. Stella shook her head sadly. Miracles don't happen every day, Candace. And sometimes it's up to us to make them happen rather than wait on some divine power to take action. I don't know. Candace sighed. I mean, what if he doesn't want to take me after all? What if it was a spur of the moment type of thing? Or what if you're worrying too much? Stella interrupted. Besides, you won't get the answers unless you go right to the source. Am I right? I guess so. Candace nodded. But how do I know that my feelings are real? And not just my imagination? What if I'm just kidding myself? You're not, Stella insisted. And even if you are, you won't be at ease until you find out. Am I right? I suppose so. Candace turned back to the frozen horizon. I do care about Tremor, she said for herself. I care for Tremor. She still felt strange saying it. I like Tremor. I really like Tremor. She looked back at Stella. I like him, don't I? Just like? Stella raised a brow. How can it be love? I mean, we fight all the time, get on each other's nerves, and have said some of the most hurtful things to one another. No relationship is perfect. But the fact that you two pay that much attention to each other should tell you. What do little boys do to girls when they're young and they like them? They hit on them, am I right? Ken smiled and held back a laugh. Seriously, they do. But Tremor's obviously beyond that stage. So what's the next best thing to hitting on a girl? Driving me nuts, apparently. Ken giggled. Exactly. And you don't exactly discourage all that well either. Candace began to blush again and turned away from her best friend. Stella could see that she had gotten through to her from the way her eyes shimmered as he stared across the ice. The lightning dragoness smiled in content. Another silence passed before Stella spoke again. So, she started, getting the ice dragon to turn again. You have got to tell me. What was it like kissing Tremor? Oh, Candace's cheeks turned bright red. Tremor beat his wings as fast as hard as he could. He could hear the angry panting of the mutant wolf on the ground behind him. Dear ancestors, this guy's fast, he wheezed. I have to get to the beach. Get the others to... His thoughts drifted off. What am I doing? He punched himself. By bringing this guy back, I'm endangering the others. Time was strong enough as well as sailing Candace. Up ahead, the trees began to sink down, and he could see the vast ocean beyond. But Ember hasn't fully recovered yet. She'd be vulnerable in a fight like this, and if anything were to happen to her... An image flashed of Candace lying down on the ground. Tremor choked and shook his head violently. No, I couldn't do that to Flame. I had to take care of this problem myself. Just as he reached the beach, Tremor banked hard and took off back the way he came. The wolf saw him coming and leaped high to intercept. Tremor somersaulted and covered himself in green energy. He smashed into the wolf and knocked him to the ground. The wolf slid into a tree, knocking it to the ground. Come on, you flea-bitten sissy! Tremor shouted. Come, catch me if you can! He took off again as the wolf got to his feet. Candace snorted angrily and took pursuit. Tremor flew out beyond the field and headed for the hills and deeper forest. Down below, the wolf was catching up. As Tremor began to climb and gain altitude, the wolf made its move. With a mighty leap, he was airborne. His shadow swept over Tremor. The young dragon looked back over his shoulder as the wolf came down on top of him. He grabbed the young dragon and rode him all the way into the ground. The impact smashed several trees and left a large crater in the ground. The wolf yanked Tremor's body out from under him and hurled him into a tree. The trunk splintered and Tremor was sent rolling across the hard ground. The wolf raised his weapon and brought it down hard on the ground. Tremor looked up as a wave of icy spikes burst up from the ground in front of him. He jumped and lashed onto the side of a tree as the spikes burst to the ground. He had been laying a split second earlier. Tremor fired an earth bullet and the wolf dodged. Tremor fired again and again, but the wolf was too fast for him. Damn it! Hold still! Tremor spat. Can't you see I'm trying to hit you? He spotted the wolf and lunged for him. The wolf struck with his blade and Tremor fired another earth bullet. The weapon was knocked from the wolf's hand and stuck into the trunk of a tree. Tremor back-winged as the wolf landed on the ground. The beast glared at him with his yellow eyes blazing mad. Tremor was breathing heavily. His entire body already ached. After a couple deep breaths, he swallowed hard, regaining his composure and calming his mind. He would need to stay focused if he was going to survive this fight. The wolf roared and lunged. Tremor dove out of the way and swung his tail. The wolf grabbed him and slammed to one of the tree. Tremor beat his wings rapidly, sending a jagged chunks of wood into the wolf's face. The beast shooting himself and struck the young dragon across the face. Tremor tumbled to the ground and rolled onto his feet. Blood trickled from his cheek. Tremor fired an earth bolt that hit the ground beneath the wolf's feet as he dropped to the ground. The earth burst into the wolf's gut, sending him high above the treetops. Tremor slammed his paws into the ground, catapulting miles of earth up at the wolf. He beat his wings again, propelling them faster. The wolf opened his mouth wide and breathed another cloud of ice. Tremor rolled away as the cloud descended upon the ground, freezing it. The wolf shot the projectiles and shot the earth dragon with the shards. Tremor ducked out of the way just in time. The wolf fell back to the ground and landed on his feet. As Charmer got up, he saw the wolf walk over to his weapon and yank it from the tree trunk. Jimmy was the first to move this time. He slammed a paw into the ground, sending a wave of earth spikes shooting up from the ground. The wolf countered with his ice spikes and the forces clashed. The shockwave of energy sent both combatants tumbling backwards. Jimmy recoiled onto his feet and fired an earth bullet into the cloud of dust and ice. At the same moment, a shower of ice spikes burst from the mist. Jimmy ducked, but managed to nick him still. One in his shoulder, the other in his side. He ignored the pain and slammed both feet down, sending a wave to the earth surrounding him. Trees struck violently as the earth rose and fell like the ocean's surface. At last, Sherman let out a roar and the entire area shook. The trees were wrenched from their roots as he spread out from around the earth dragon. The collecting mass of trunks smashed into the wolf, pinning him between more and more trunks. Sherman beat his wings once and the ground flattened, leaving nothing but a clear open area in the forest hills. Sherman gasped heavily for several minutes. The pain was beginning to get to him. His chest heaved, causing the slash marks to burn even more. The two gashes on his left side had blood falling in a steady stream, and his wounded shoulder had been exposed nearly to the bone. With a crunch and groan, Trimmer collapsed to the dirt on his bad shoulder. He struggled to get back on his feet, but he couldn't feel anything except the burning that was spreading across his right side. Just then there was a loud crash, and Trimmer raised his eyes to the perimeter of tree trunks. A negative howl burst out of the woods surrounding him. "Damn it!" Trimmer grumbled. "I swear, cuckoos are easy to kill." With a muffled growl, he hoisted himself up off the ground. Several tree trunks fell to the ground. Then suddenly, two of the fallen trees rocketed towards the young dragon. Trimmer dodged each one easily. A third trunk was seen flying at him, and he fired an earth bullet. The trunk shattered, and the wolf launched a cloud of splinters. Trimmer narrowly escaped the wolf's blade as the jagged tip jammed to the ground. The Earth Guardian sprang high into the air, and the wolf followed through his surprise attack. He switched his grip on the handle and fell to the ground, surrounding the blade. With a mighty pull, he yanked the blade free from the ground, sending a shower of ice spikes into the air. Trimmer had no time to dodge the onslaught. He shielded his face as the spikes peppered his underbelly. He grunted in pain and tasted blood swelling up in his mouth. The wolf sprang up and threw a hard punch. The blow sent Trimmer towards spinning out of control as he flew high into the air before falling towards the hard ground. The wolf landed and instantly made another lunge with the dragon. Just before Trimmer hit the ground, he was grabbed by the tail and jerked back to the air. The wolf hurled him down with all his might, and Trimmer hit the ground with a loud cry. The earth split from the impact, and a cloud of dust covered the area. "Wow," Stella sighed dreamily. "That sounds amazing." She was blushing as she listened to Kenneth's story of her kiss with Trimmer in greater detail. "It was." Kenneth nodded, still embarrassed. "I still don't know what came over me. I'm surprised myself." Stella felt her warm cheeks. "I never thought of you as the type to deafen a kiss like that." "That makes two of us." Kenneth nodded. "Did you and Leon ever..." Kenneth's voice shut off. "What?" Stella asked curiously. "Sorry, I didn't mean to bring Leon into this." Kenneth turned away. "Oh, just drop it." "Oh, no you don't." Stella moved close to Kenneth and smiled devilishly. "I want to hear what you wanted to ask. This whole Trimmer thing is juicy, and I want every detail. So if you have something you need to ask me, then do so." "Did you and Leon ever kiss?" "Of course." "With tongue?" "Yes." Kenz's cheeks flushed as her mind was flooded with pictures of the lightning dragons and the black dragon embraced one another, closely, intimately. "What about... you know?" "Know what?" said Titterhead curiously. "Did you two... ever... you know... do it?" "Mate?" "Yes." Stella sighed. "I hate to admit it now, but yes, we did." "What?" Kenza was expecting her best friend to give that answer. "It was a couple of times. Once at the Eastern Sitting and once more at Orphan." "Wow." Candace stared at Stella with eyes wide and jaw dropped. Stella blushed and turned her head away. She sighed deeply. The memory of Leona and her sudden change in personality left her confused and alone. But she would have to be strong. For her best friend, Spyro, and the other guardians. She wouldn't let Leon's behavior interfere with her duties as a guardian. It was then that lightning darkness caught a whiff of the air. Her eyes widened. "Uh-oh," she muttered. "What is it?" Candace looked out at the ocean and then back to her friend. "There's a storm coming. A big one." "Seriously? How can you tell?" "The polarity in the air. It's changed." She looked Candace in the eye. "We need to get back to the cave." And fast. Right. Candace nodded dumbly. Both druggists turned and flew back towards the cave. Out across the ocean, the clouds were quickly growing dark. As Candace watched the clouds approach, she felt an easy feeling deep in her heart.